Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Align Life, Brain-Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, German College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 562 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Jenny Howard. And if you want to hear a story about chiropractic in the Midwest at Life West, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. It's 562 of them. I know because I've done them all. Today I have Dr. Jenny Howard coming in from the seat of our country, the Midwest. I'm really excited what she's working with. There's a lot that she's going to tell you about. But before we jump in to talk about all things Jenny Howard, I'm going to let you guys know why we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle. First things first, freedom of speech. We've never censored anyone. We know what it's like to be marginalized. We know what it's like to be shadow banned and censored. We would never do that to anybody. So anybody that's ever been on our show, guess what? You can go back and listen to all of their interviews. Pretty cool, right? We do support medical freedom and family health freedom. It's definitely a theme of what we do and why we do this, because a lot of times people just don't know where to go or who to trust. And we've picked chiropractic as our sacred community to support. And that leads us into the next thing is philosophically, we do support and protect the sacred trust. It's BJ Palmer's last words. If you don't know what they are, go and search for BJ Palmer Sacred Trust or BJ Palmer's last word. And you're going to learn more about chiropractic than you previously did. I guarantee you. And then as we roll into this, we do support subluxation-based chiropractic, innate intelligence, and universal intelligence. I know there shouldn't have to say that stuff on a chiropractic podcast, but we believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And if you want to learn some philosophy, go check out some green books. And with that, Dr. Jenny Howard, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. It's so awesome to be here.
Yeah, long time coming.
Absolutely. Years, absolutely years. We've been chatting on Facebook for a long time, and it's finally has come to fruition.
Yeah, and I know that you took a new position as campus director for Life West, and it's Bellevue, correct?
Correct.
Life West Bellevue. And I know we're going to talk a whole lot about that, but first, let's talk about you and your story that led up to this time. How did you get into chiropractic and what inspires you to keep going?
Oh, goodness. My story, I had a really good friend in high school, Dr. Laura Meredith, and she was heading off to chiropractic school, and I knew nothing about chiropractic. I gave Dr. Laura the hardest time for going to chiropractic school, being into chiropractic. I didn't know anything about it. My parents our family's so medically based, right? So they taught me that it was, voodoo this, voodoo that. You don't go to the chiropractor, because they were listening to their medical doctors, right? So my friend goes off to chiropractic school. She went down the road to Davenport, Iowa, and her sister, Dr. Marie Miller, shortly after returned. And she said to her sister, "Hey, I need a patient to go through this process with me." And Laura said, "Get Jenny in the office. She knows nothing about chiropractic." And so I volunteered myself to go be Dr. Marie's first patient. She took me through the examination, x-rays, report of findings, all the steps so she could get her grounding in the clinic. And what she didn't know is that she really helped me. So Prior to me seeing Dr. Miller, I had been working at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, and I could barely sit in an office chair for, oh, I don't know, like a half hour at the most. And that was my job, to sit at the front desk all day and communicate to patients. And I would pop Tylenol just to get through the day all day long. And soon after seeing Marie, I didn't have to do that anymore. I felt better. I felt better in so many different ways. Like, I feel like I'm my own chiropractic miracle story. I didn't have to take acid reflux medication. I didn't have to use my inhaler as much. All of these things in my body started functioning better. And I was like, wow, Dr. Marie, this is really cool. How do I get into this? And she's like, oh, why don't you go to school and be a chiropractic assistant, because you want to be a nurse. That's kind of along the same field, and I was like, oh, no. I'm going to be a doctor. And so I literally within 6 months of receiving my first adjustment, I moved to Davenport, Iowa, and started Palmer that following fall.
What a cool journey.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and my journey is always evolving with chiropractic. Getting out of that sense of being such a medically based person, when I grew up, my parents vaccinated me and I experienced all the things medical, and now it's just changed my life for the better, honestly.
Yeah, I hear so many great stories on our podcast, doing around 1,300 interviews in the past 6 years. People are always curious, like, this is episode 562. Where's those other ones? Well, a lot of times I go to like events that are chiropractic seminars or learning weekends, and I'll go and interview 20 people on a weekend. And I don't count those as podcasts, but it gives the opportunity for the event that's hosting those interviews an opportunity to have more people like you just now had a chance to tell your story, what excites you, what makes life better for you, and why you have so much passion for this thing called chiropractic that, like, many people don't think that it can help with acid reflux. Many people don't know that it can help with, some of the things that, I don't know, most people don't contribute to chiropractic. So it's
Right.
really cool that you did have a really powerful story, and it started in Davenport, Iowa. And it looks like you've been practicing 15 years now.
Yep.
And I know that you've had some opportunities to do some leadership with the state of Nebraska. And there's other things that you've been working on behind the scenes to support chiropractic politically. So talk a little bit about what it was like for you to get involved with the state association and how that led to where you are today with Life West in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's our new hashtag, right? I was really, so to kind of rewind a little bit, I was a student that was not involved at all when I was at school. And I think that's one of my biggest regrets, was going to school and leaving and not doing anything outside of school. I literally did nothing. And so I felt like a little bit of piece of me was kind of missing, if you will. And so about 7 years ago, I was struggling a little bit in practice, but I wanted to be involved. And I found that as soon as I got involved, things started happening for me. Like, the abundance came back to me, if you will. The more you give, the more you get in return, type of thing. And I wasn't expecting that to happen, but I got involved on our state board as a district representative. And so I was one of 2 representatives for the Omaha area. And basically, I was a board member where I was able to vote on issues within our association. We'd have meetings a couple times a year, and then some other, board meetings as necessary. But I was the voice for my district. Okay. And I would ask members, what would you like to see? Who do you want here for continuing education? Do you want to do this? Do you agree with this? And really just trying to be their voice. And I felt like I created that relationship with a lot of the members in the Omaha area. I don't think that there's one doctor around here that I couldn't go up and talk to or walk into their office and just say, hey, how are you? And, start up that conversation. So after being on the board for about 3 years in that district representative spot, I was appointed to secretary, and I was secretary for 2 years, and then ascended to vice president. And that recently I stepped away from the vice president role. One, because I took this job, and I didn't know if I would have time to ascend into the presidency role, if you will, with running a college school campus and that. So I wanted to make sure that my time commitments were in the right place. Could I have done it? Absolutely. But my heart was more here with what I needed to get done with Life West. And so that's kind of how I switched that role. So I stepped off the board for about 2 weeks, and then I got voted back in as a district representative again. I just can't step away from it.
Well, hearing your story, it just reminds me of like hometown, like hero ethics, going in and doing the right thing. Like we've been misled, I think, a lot with people in leadership roles. I wouldn't say so much in the chiropractic space, but globally we have a lot of confusion with leaders. And I think more leaders should get back to the times where they'll go and knock on somebody's door and just show up and have a conversation with them and have an open door for people to actually have conversations about things that matter to them. And I think it's something that needs to return. I'm into marketing. So everybody out there wants to do marketing. They want it to be digital, but that's so disconnected. And I always try to tell people you should go back and go to like marketing events and go to your farmer's market and meet the community and go do the expos in your community and meet the people and go to the fairs and meet the people, because that's a way to build the product of chiropractic, not just for your practice, but the community needs places like that. And they need people that are leaders in their community to show up like that. And I've been kind of outside the bounds with like politics for a long time, just because I'm like, I don't know that person. I don't know how they really act or how they really think. I'm just going off of an image. I'm going off of something that people are telling me. So when it comes back to the seat of chiropractic, like it's really great to see that somebody is connected to the community. It's really nice to see that somebody wants to see people benefit from having real live connection and starting something that really matters. And I think that's really cool. And before the interview started, we were just kind of talking about like where you were at. And you told me that you guys just started, like the school just started.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually taught my first chiropractic history class this morning, and you kind of get nervous. I always thought that I was going to be in education. I actually thought I was going to be in Davenport, Iowa for the rest of my life. But that didn't happen. I moved home shortly after graduation, and I think I'm exactly where I need to be. But yeah, I wanted to be involved in education, and then Life West ended up in my back door, and I was like, I want to be involved in this. And that's kind of how I got here. I voiced that I wanted to be involved very strongly, and I got the position.
So let's talk about life in the Midwest, Life West in the Midwest. What have your experiences been so far from the profession, and how has it been like perceived, and what are some questions you've been getting?
Yeah, I think the biggest perception that I have is like, how did they do that? How did they set up a campus in a year? Because this really came to fruition. They started hunting our main campus, so Life West in Hayward, started hunting for an additional site. And they had, a kind of a connection, if you will, like a business dating service, I would call it, that connected them with Bellevue University here in Nebraska. And the two campuses really gelled based on their ethos. Life West has that ethos to give, to do, to love, to serve from your own abundance without expecting anything in return. And every single thing that Bellevue University does encompasses that. And they just, it's stated in their mission and vision differently, but the two campuses melded so well together. And so essentially what we've done is we're renting space at an existing college. They have all the amenities, food services for our students. There's a gymnasium, there's a library, anatomy and physiology labs. Like all of the amenities are here, and we're just renting space because Bellevue University, 90% of their students are online. So they have this space to bring the community in and make their campus grow in a way.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's
I
exciting.
I didn't know some of the nuts and bolts of like the systems that were involved out there, but I'm a Christian guy, so I love it when people plant churches and when they like go and like, do the right thing in a community and give communities hope. And that's kind of what I look at what you guys are doing. It's like planting a university with a great ethical standard and a great educational model into another location that can benefit from it. And I know that there's some things that you wanted to talk to us about benefits and the faculty and where you guys are at and some of the growth that's happening. So maybe you could just talk to people about why somebody would choose to come study there and why it's something that you are supporting.
Yeah, well, our logo, our I should say our motto is Nebraska, why not? They ask us why Nebraska, and we say why not. So no, but in all seriousness, our class numbers are small. So at the most, we are going to accept 35 students per quarter, twice a year. So we enroll every October and every January, and we keep that student and faculty ratio low. That way it is a more tight-knit group. The students aren't going to get lost in a class of 150 students. And the cost of living, it's a little bit cheaper here than it is in the Bay. I think the values too of the Midwest kind of plays a bit into why we landed here as well. But also, like, it's our vision to be able to provide chiropractic education across the world. So not only is it something that we want to, provide here in Nebraska, we may look at, expanding to other places across the world. And I think making chiropractic education more accessible is key. And, today's learners, they want to stay close to home.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't need to like pitch the fight for anybody, but it's a vitalistic school.
Absolutely. Yes, we stick to that core foundation of the chiropractic philosophy.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Align Life, Brain-Based Health Solutions, Chiro HD, Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, German College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, the IFCO, and 100% Chiropractic. Let's hustle. Yeah, and having an open conversation, Life West has sponsored and supported our show for some time now. And I think a lot of it's due to our tenants. We support subluxation-based chiropractic. We speak the same language. We believe in universal intelligence and the green books. Like those are things that we have to like really hold on to as a profession instead of saying, you know what, we're going to go this musculoskeletal route. We're going to go this pain-based route. And I do think that there is a place for that. But I also think that we could operate a really awesome profession based on the philosophical roots of the profession. And we could talk other things just as long as we don't remove them. Because I think that what Life West has done since its inception is produced really great chiropractors that had really great philosophy that know how to adjust. And I think that if you paired it back to that, that's really what we need in all chiropractic schools. Really great philosophy, really great adjusters, and people that can own the profession and not be confused at what they're doing once they come out into the open market and don't know how to adjust or don't know how to go into business. And that's a big problem. So I'm so excited that Life West is doing what you guys are doing out in Bellevue. And I'm really, really grateful that you're a part of the leadership division out there.
Thank you.
Let's future pace this thing. Let's talk it out. Let's lay it out. Like, what are your hopes over the next couple of years? What do you hope to see happening? How do you hope to see your position grow, expand? Like, what do you see happening?
Yeah. Well, one, I hope to fill the seats here at Life West, Nebraska. I am super excited for our incoming class this fall. And I think after this fall, we'll probably have a wait list and be able to really grow chiropractic in the heartland in a way that it hasn't been portrayed before. You know, there's not a chiropractic school here in Nebraska. So having that here and getting chiropractic out to the community, or especially over these next 5 years, I think will be a really great way for us to incorporate chiropractic into the heartland, if you will. I'm going to have a moment of loss here. Go ahead with your next question, Jim.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think.
Oh, you said where my role. Hopefully, my role. Right now I'm the campus director, and it's my hopes that eventually it would turn into like dean of students as the school grows. So we'll kind of see how things evolve and where we go from there.
So this is something I'm curious about that I don't know, but this is why I led into that, because I'm sure you guys have president, vice president of the schools too.
All of our main, everything's run out of California right now.
Okay.
So all of our curriculum, everything comes from there. We follow the exact same standard as the main campus. We're just delivering it here in Nebraska.
So Ron Oberstein's still in charge of this whole operation.
Yep. Ron Oberstein is the president of Life West, all encompassing, Life West Midwest and in Hayward.
Because I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure a lot of people are curious, like, how's the structure? How are they doing this? Like, how did it happen so quickly? Like you even said, and like, where's the projections going? And it is cool that you guys have decided to partner with a campus that was underutilized. And I do think that there's a lot more of that going forward, like co-sharing and supporting resources and resource pooling and putting great programs in. And I do think it would be really, really, really awesome to see what you guys are able to accomplish with this. And then how you can take this same system and then
replicate it.
Yeah, match make other colleges that are underutilized, that have great market operations and great market opportunity, and then say, okay, this is the next fit. And then,
right, that's our hope.
And I mean, I've had this conversations many times, like, what would happen today if President RFK Jr. said he becomes president, all of a sudden he says, hey, everybody needs to go see the chiropractor. Whoa.
There wouldn't be enough of us to see everybody. Yeah. We need more chiropractors.
Yeah. So I think right now it could be seriously the calm before the storm. And it's been said, I'm sure you've been to so many seminars that people said there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. Like, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but it's real. And what a better time to be a chiropractor than to know that our country really needs more chiropractors, and we need more principled chiropractors, and we need people that can go out and, spread the good word of chiropractic and be those pillars in the communities and actually like be successful. So I think it's really cool that you guys have a good model, and I don't think that there's a limit to what you guys are capable of doing. And I'm really excited to know that you're holding numbers, 35 per. It's a twice a year, so
quarter system. Yep. So we enroll twice a year, and October and January.
Okay.
The maximum of 70 additional students in a year.
Yeah, that's really cool. And right now you said that there's faculty. You guys are going to bring more faculty on.
Yeah, so as we grow, we'll start our second quarter in January. So we'll bring in another first quarter. So we'll have our first quarter faculty that's here right now teaching first quarter, and then we'll bring on additional faculty to help teach any classes that we don't have somebody scheduled for, in that second quarter. So our faculty numbers will grow as our students grow. But yeah, it's a really unique model, and I'm so excited for the students here. They've had a great couple days this week already. So
in regards to the school and your position and the excitement around the what's going to happen and how it's happening, is there any questions I haven't asked you that you think would be pertinent to share with our audience today?
I think just the way Life West models their curriculum, we have what's called clinically inspired learning. And so that first year, our students are hands-on learning in our technology training center. They're with a reciprocal student. The second year, they're in the clinical setting, so they're getting hands-on earlier. I think, when I was in chiropractic school, it was way almost into my third year of chiropractic school before I started adjusting outpatient. And then once our students are, meet that clinical, those benchmarks, they're able to go on service trips multiple times. And we offer service trips 3 times a year. And then the last year they get out into a preceptor program. So we get them into a doctor's office. We want them to leave our campus and go into a doctor's office for the last year of their schooling. That way they get that real business experience. And a lot of the times it's like a warm-up interview. They're with this doctor for a year potentially, and by that time that doctor is really invested in this student, and it leads into a job offer. So we're helping create those relationships so that way every student doesn't feel like they have to go out and start their own clinic, because it's tough to come out of school with debt and then to open a business and to get patients in there to pay for all that debt. Like it's overwhelming, and I experienced that myself. So I think that's one of the most unique things, and maybe, I don't know, maybe all chiropractic schools are like this, but when I went to school, my curriculum was not structured like this, and I absolutely love that we're hands-on the first day when we're here.
I think it's important. Let's talk a little bit more about the necessity of these service mission trips, and where do you guys go for those?
Yeah, so 3 times a year, we take students and clinical doctors. So it could be our staff doctors, our faculty, or doctors from around the community. And we go to Mexico, Tonga, and India 3 times a year. And we take those students there and they get to experience the culture. They get to, as long as we have a good relationship with the government, so it's safe for them to go there, we'll have a place for them to stay, food for them to eat, and they just have to get themselves there. So we help subsidize that cost, if you will, to get them on these trips and get them that clinical experience, get their hands on more patients than they would have ever dreamed of.
Well, that's really, really inspiring. People that watch our show know that I've done 2 documentaries. We're working on our third one right now called Adjust the World. And it's going to be about the power of the chiropractic adjustment. There doesn't have to be money exchange. There doesn't have to be an insurance policy exchange. It's just the power of the adjustment. They don't even have to speak the same language. So I think it's really cool what you guys are doing with the service mission trips. And it coincides right with my ethos and my messaging is one adjustment can change someone's life. And the more opportunities that young chiros get to adjust and to be with people and take care of them, the more powerful they become as practitioners when they matriculate from the student to the doctor, which I think is really, really cool and inspiring. So that's why I wanted to ask you that question, just because I know that there's a lot of opportunity out there for people that get into a chiropractic program. And when people get into a chiropractic program, we want to see them succeed once they become the diploma doctor and once they get the cap. And there's bigger horizons to find as that journey goes on. And I'm really excited, Jenny, that they promoted from within. They found themselves somebody that really loves the profession, that really wanted to go out there and support this college planting out there in the Midwest. And it's really, it's empowering to me to see you step into that position, because I know a lot of people are going to benefit from your dedication and your desire to see these students progress and have good quality careers. And, you're going to see what you do now come back tenfold or
Absolutely.
70 fold.
That's
because
right.
because each one of this waiting list, student list, you're going to see each one of those careers start to bloom after they finish those clinical hours and the school hours, and they're going to go out there, and then you're going to have like these proud moments, like you're number one, like
Yep.
you're number 5, or you're number
Right.
70, or you're number 235, and because of our dream and vision, now you can go forth and serve, which I think is really impressive. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
At this juncture, if people want to work with Life West in the Midwest, or they want to enroll, or they want to reach out to you directly, where do we send them to?
Yeah, they can go to our main website, lifewest.edu, or go.lifewest.edu. I think that's for our admissions department. You can follow me on Instagram, Dr. Jen. LifeWestBU. I think that's what it is. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And then we also have a Life West Nebraska Instagram page. So always accessible on any of those channels.
Well, this is a really great episode. I think it's amazing what you're doing. I support you guys full on. Thank you for supporting what we do over here at Chiro Hustle. And I'm going to close out by telling everybody the same thing I do at the end of my shows. You're just one story away. Keep hustling, and go Life West in the Midwest.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Dr. Jenny.
Have a good day.
All right, bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.